If you're just joining us this morning, it is Chris and as well Mitch Foster. How you doing, sir? Thanks for coming in.
Good. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Yep, absolutely. And Mr. Honorable Mark Barnett, the Honorable Mayor of Ludington, Mark Barnett. Did I get it right? Anybody?
Yeah, that's great.
Did I miss a word at all in that?
I think you're good.
Okay.
As long as you use so many, Mark works good. But,
okay, that works. No, I appreciate it because we want to make sure that you are presented in a way that that goes with the job, and we appreciate all that you do. Speaking of that, I want to get it right out of the way that the recall petitions that has been dismissed against you from the citizen here in the area. Part of the reason, I guess, Mitch, is because Mark's home was part of the plan. It is no longer part of the plan, and so that individual decided that didn't require to move forward on that.
Correct. That's our understanding, at least from the election commission meeting, is that was what was stated by that individual.
Okay. Yep. All right. Good to hear that. Mayor Barnett, that probably is a relief a little bit off of your shoulders, but you always had good intent. Is that fair?
Absolutely. I mean, and to be fair, I mean, what I likened it to was the water testing in the city of Ludington. The more places that you can get to test the water, or the more places that are open for attracting and harvesting deer, the quicker the problem will be taken care of. So that's really what it has always been for Lisa and I. And so anyway, it's a distraction, and it's not there now, so that's good.
All right. Looking forward to moving forward on the topics that are going to be part of tonight's city council meeting at 6 p.m. And just as an asterisk next to that topic, though, we do still, because it wouldn't do justice if I didn't say this, is that we do have 3 city council members that there is still a recall petition in trying to move forward. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And if we need to bring that up in topic in the future, we'll do that. But at this point, it's sort of the same phase or same trajectory as what was going before there. In regards to tonight's meeting, let's talk about technology, elevators, security. So the IT company that the city has with, I think, the cameras that are out there, the internet, so on and so forth, you have decided to stick with the same company or go with a new company there?
Yep. So we, for a number of years now, we've been with a firm called IT Right. They had operated and been managed IT provider for most of the state of Michigan's municipalities. They were acquired by a firm out of California called VC3 over the last year, and the service hasn't been solid in the slightest. And so we did go out for a request for proposals, got those back, and the reality is when you're the behemoth, it's tough to beat you. And their numbers were close enough for us, and the closest competitor from a dollar perspective just didn't have much in the way of experience with municipalities and the complex operations that we have with all the programs and software. So we have decided as of right now to recommend staying with the VC3.
Okay, all right, and but you did switch over, or you were looking at a different company?
Yeah, we were looking at switching over to try to see if we could find something better. But just the reality is nobody else is out there quite yet. As even with 24 municipalities, nobody's there yet. So it'll be a long haul, but we can sign on for another 3 years and see how things go along. And hope that it improves.
All right. Mayor Barnett, along with, like I mentioned, the cameras, the internet, what is this IT company, what does it do for the city of Ludington, some of the things that it has?
Well, it manages the network, most importantly, and I know back when I was with the police department, IT Right was involved in our end of the stuff, on our end of the building, and the city used them as well, and they did good. But again, as the city manager has mentioned, the acquisition occurred, and sometimes those things have some speed bumps in them. And so I think bringing it to their attention and going through the process, I think is a good, healthy thing. And as he said, we'll see how it works out going forward.
All right. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Mayor Mark Barnett and City Manager Mitch Foster this morning. Is the city acquiring a building, and if so, what's going to be that use for it?
No, so we are actually trying to sell a building.
Okay. All
Yep.
right.
So the way it's written up as a purchase agreement is a purchase by the tribe, actually, of a piece of property that we own. So we had actually issued a request for proposals back in the summer for our old utilities building, which is right next to Thompson Cabinet down on the bayou. And the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians were the high bidder for that property, and we've been working on a purchase agreement essentially for several months. Unfortunately, they had several bouts of COVID run through their board, and I believe the Ogama as well. And so it's taken us a little while, but we believe we've come to a good resolution here and can sell that property and see the tribe utilize it for a natural resources education facility.
All right, that was the next question. Is that's can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so what they've indicated is that they've got they've got their own essentially Department of Natural Resources staff that they would like to utilize that structure. They will house their fishing vessels, both subsistence as well as commercial fishing. And then their hope is to turn it into like a long-term natural resources education center for both tribal as well as non-tribal kind of children and community members. So I think from our perspective, it could be a win-win. As you know, I think adding that along the waterfront really would add to the feeling of the community.
And this is the first building for the tribe for the Ludington area. Do you know?
To my knowledge, yes. Unless the mayor, His Honor, knows of a different one. I think this is the first one. And the major difference here is, unlike in other places where they put them into their trust, this is not being put in their trust, which means they'll be paying normal property taxes on it for a period of time.
All right. So more income coming into the city when it comes to that. Do you expect that to close here soon?
Well, so there's one piece of this that we're waiting to hear back from them on. We included it in the packet because we were hoping that they would get back to us. I haven't heard from the attorney yet, but there's a reverter clause in this, which states that if they don't do what they've essentially said they're going to do within 4 years, that we have the right to buy back the property for $1.
Oh, okay.
Cities get burned a lot when we try to sell property. We say, all right, we're going to sell it to you for X, and then nothing happens on that property. And so we want to prevent that from happening with this reverter clause. And so we just need to make sure that dollar amount is okay by them, and then we'll move forward with the sale and the closing.
All right. Speaking of not happening property-wise, some of the schools were sold. Is everything moving forward at the speed that you had hoped at this point, or no?
No.
Okay.
No, not even close. Okay. I think part of it is, the market is still just a little bit odd for people. With prices on supplies and products being high, plus having high interest rates, it really is a double whammy for builders. I mean, whether they're residential or commercial builders. So, I would hope that things would move a little bit quicker, but I can't control it. And so we just, work with them as best we can. All
right. And hopefully supplies are going to get better here shortly. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Mayor Mark Barnett, City Manager Mitch Foster here in the studio. Security, tell us about that. TKS security. City needs security for certain things?
Yep, it's the Department of Public Works building.
Okay.
So they had a security system out there because of all the things that they have out there, vehicles, equipment. The previous security company, or actually current, that we had out there in security system, once we got a new phone system, they didn't work together. And so this new system will. It will also give us remote access and remote access to doors as well. So it'll be an improvement for sure.
All right. Mr. Mayor, let's talk about alcohol at Stearns Beach in regards to the concession stand. So the idea is that, first of all, you can bring alcohol on the beach if it's not in a glass container, right? And in Stearns Park, in the park area as well. This is where the concession stand, Laura and her team, want to be able to provide alcohol sales from the two concession stands, I believe, or is it just isolated to the one concession stand there? Can you tell us a little bit more about that, if you don't
I believe
mind?
it's just the south.
Yep.
It's just the south concession stand. Yep.
Okay, and what does that mean? What's the goal? What's the goal there?
Well, what Laura has indicated is that she's hoping to they're hoping to create some opportunities for different types of mixed drinks and that type of thing to go along with the type of food that they're using. At this point, it'll be just a matter of council deciding whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, and certainly have the opportunity to folks have the opportunity to weigh in on that and that kind of thing. But I think it'll be up to council to decide whether or not that's a good fit for Stearns Beach.
And do you see this as something? Oh, sorry about Hudson, the radio dog back there. Do you see this as something for that will ultimately attract more tourists, or is it just what's the goal? I guess that in those conversations with Laura.
Yep, I think they're of the opinion that that'll enhance what they're doing relative to menu and that kind of thing. I think that's their thought.
All right, sounds good. We have a visitor here at the station. Apologize about that. And Hudson, the radio dog, is reacting there. Let's talk about.
So apparently, your security system is malfunctioning.
Yeah, we have a pretty good security system. Let's talk about Cartier Park and electricity. Is there no electricity at Cartier Park?
No, there is. What we've done as a part of the bathroom remodel rebuild project for both those bathhouses is we had to upgrade the electrical system out there and run a couple of new lines. And so the contract or the agreement that's on the agenda for tonight really deals with running a new line from a transformer farther into the park. So that A, can feed the north bathhouse a little bit more power, but B, also extend the service of our electrical to some sites that don't currently have electrical, so that in the future we can add electric to those sites.
And maybe I didn't catch this, but the bathroom project that was out there, is that
ongoing and doing well? Yeah,
really?
Yep, I went out there. I was out there last week with Russ Soper, taking a look at things, and it looks different because they've got some pitches that have to be addressed and fixed kind of around the bathhouses. But the structures themselves are up. They're working on electrical and trying to build in the plumbing now as well. So it's moving along.
All right. Looking forward to that. Anything on, and I know I ask this repetitively when you're on the air, but I always like to, know and share with the community anything that's coming up, anything that's you're looking forward to this year. That's maybe not on the city list, the council list tonight, but is there? And I'm not necessarily looking for secrets to expose and so forth. I'm just saying that we've got 2024. We're just into the year. Springtime just around the corner. Is there anything that the tourists, that the locals, that anybody can look forward to this year? Mitch, we'll start with you.
So I'll start with a negative and then a positive. Can I do two? Is that okay?
Yeah.
The negative, or the one that I think people are just going to have to get used to, is the construction around town. Whether that is this fall out at the state park as they get rolling out there, whether that is this spring as we're likely going to start the Tinkham Avenue reconstruction project in April, or it is Andy's big construction downtown, closing off parts or all of Rath at different points in time. There's a lot of construction. That's a good thing. But also it can cause some headaches. So I just ask people to be patient with us as we go through those different things.
Do you see that with Andy's downtown that it's going to go outside of what's already blocked off there?
Yes, they have to.
Okay.
So as they, what you'll see now, and I actually just saw it this morning, I was confused. They have started putting together the stairwell on the west side. So they've got the CMU block going up on the west side of the property. Once that is done, they will be able to start putting their steel frame up, which will be about a 6-week period. Their anticipated start for that is March 6th, and for 6 weeks, all of South Rath, that entire block, will be closed. And that is because the crane that they have to bring in to lift the steel is too large. It's essentially the size of the roadway.
Okay.
So that will be the only time that we're told as of right now that the entire street will be closed off. But our hope and our belief is once that steel is up, that we will be working with that contractor to open up the sidewalk along Ludington Avenue and kind of do one of those protected walkways like you see in big cities, and then hopefully have that southbound traffic still open back up on Rath as well.
Do you see with the unseasonably warm temps that you are hearing, or do they keep you in the loop on this? On if this could speed up these processes out there, either from the road construction or from a private construction.
Yeah, I will say road construction can be helpful, and I think that's really why the contractor. We're having our pre-construction meeting the week of the 11th of March, and then the earliest they can start under the state contract is April 8th, and they're talking about starting April 8th because of how nice it is. So Tinkham's going to get done early, I think, and early in the year, which will be helpful. The problem with Andy's project, the Andy's project, not Andy Reamer, is the circumstance. The temperatures for that CMU block had to be very specific, and so it would delay days. So like this morning with temperatures below freezing to start the day off, they couldn't start right away, and they had to keep everything warm. They had elevation issues that were unknown going into it, and a couple of small mistakes made by an engineer here or there that delayed a little bit right off the bat. But the bigger problem ends up being just making sure that supplies and items are being delivered on time. So as long as all that stuff goes forward, I think they'll be right on schedule for getting this project done.
All right. Do you see this, and I assume you do, as improvements to the city, a little bit of congestion for people and driving around and trying to get around this, but even with US 10, that actually went a lot smoother than I thought. I mean, yes, there were some backups, but before you knew it, it was all done and opened back up. Do you see this as these construction projects here in Ludington not affecting us as much here come tourist season?
Yeah, I think it's like with anything. I mean, there's short-term pain, long-term gain. I think when you think about the 10 project, as you talked about, as you're sitting there waiting 3 or 4 or 5 cycles for a light to change and the traffic backed up and stuff, you're cranked up that they decided right then to fix the road. However, now you drive back and forth on a smooth surface, and it's wonderful. And for a long period of time. So I think I think the same thing is true with the Andes project or any other projects that are going to be happening. Tinkham, Lakeshore Drive, the state park. I think all of those things are necessary infrastructure improvements that just unfortunately need to happen. And fortunately, there's money to do them. And fortunately, it'll be great for the people that are using them long after.
And speaking of construction complete, which is nice, is Wesco downtown. That must be a relief for you to be able to go in there.
Well, those of us that have a popcorn dependency are really glad that was open last night. Stopped in, bought my first bag of popcorn in the newly remodeled Wesco, so that was awesome. And it's just beautiful down there. So we're thankful for that.
And one of the big topics that came out of Wesco being open is the opportunity, and it probably takes a little bit of pressure off of the Legacy Plaza bathrooms, is the option for people to come into the side door in Wesco if they're out walking, running, anything there, especially during the winter time, because the bathrooms at Legacy Plaza, right, they close down during the winter, or no?
Nope, just overnight.
Overnight. Is this going to help a little bit with that pressure or not?
Yeah, I'm sure, because if you think about if you think about people that might be grabbing stuff to go out of there, then you can use the restroom before you leave. I can think about times where, I've had to stop at rest areas that might be closed, and then you're going to the gas station nearest after that point. I think it's the same circumstance. They're both within a decent proximity of one another, that, if one's closed and the other one's open, I'm sure one gets more traffic than the other.
And what time does the Legacy Plaza open? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Open?
Well, they're closed from what time to what time overnight?
I believe it, and the mayor might remember a little bit better. It's Monday morning. I think it's 10 p.m. To 7 a.m. or 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., something along those lines. But we try to get it open earlier in the summertime, in particular for the runners.
Okay, all right, because right now we see them out at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, so that's where Wesco will fit that need or fit that mold just a little bit there. It is, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Mitch Foster, City Manager, and Mark Barnett, Mayor of Ludington this morning. June 8th and June 9th, or is it 7th and 8th? Let's see. Love Ludington Weekend. I think it's the 7th and 8th, if I remember right. And on the 8th, that Saturday, that's right, is approved the blessing of the boats, moving from Waterfront Park to the West End area, which is right at the dead end area of US 10. You can't go any farther. I've been told that space is not used as much. It was built, and this is an opportunity, at least not one of the first, but another opportunity for it to be used more. Take us through maybe the reasons why it's not used a lot, and why you're looking forward to having Blessing the Boats there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to blessing the boats there because it's proximate to the water as well. There's a facility there. The redone West End is going to work well for what they want to do with the tent and that kind of thing. I think there'd be a good amount of proximate parking for those that want to park and come in and view that. And I'm speaking more of the boat ramp parking lot. But again, I mean, it's a water event, and so I think it's going to work out well. In terms of why it hadn't been used, and maybe it's a circular chicken or the egg kind of a thing, is it because events have changed, and regardless of the type of facility there, they would have not been having used it and changed the event, or maybe not done the event. Now that it's there, those things haven't picked back up. This will be one of the events that's kind of picked back up, and probably will be the litmus test for others that want to do similar type of events and say, hey, this works out really well there. And so I think it's probably just a combination of stuff, but I think it'll be a great venue for this. And
parking wise for this will people be encouraged to park in the marina parking lot area or Stearns the Stearns area? Obviously, there's the angle parking by the JCs. But what do you think the proposed idea is? Anybody, Mitch, you want to take that?
Yeah, so we had a meeting to talk about both this event and another one that will likely be announced here coming soon. And I think that the idea is that we'll likely save probably the first row of parking spots within the big parking lot down at the boat launch, not only for handicap parking and those that need close proximity, but also likely for food trucks and food vendors. But also you have the rest of that parking lot that won't be blocked off, but it won't be heavy fishing season yet, hopefully. And the time of day won't be heavy for fishing likely. So it'll be a combination of both the big lot and then street parking kind of all through there.
All right. And the second event, you don't have to sell it, but or are you referring to the lights display then, or is there a different one?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. We did have a chance to talk with Jack Greavy about that. So, and the radio station, as long as the city approves, it's going to provide the music for that.
Perfect.
They're going to provide technically the music. We're going to just distribute it over the air and over speakers there.
Good.
But that's going to be a neat event for the 100th anniversary, 100th birthday.
Yeah, it's going to be a great combination, especially pairing it up with Blessing the Boats and having those kind of paired together. I think is a really cool idea that between the two organizations really kind of came together to make this something cool like this happen. And again, long term, I think it's a great move for the Blessing to move down that way. I joked during our first pre-event meeting with them that the Blessing the Boats has been, I think this is going to be the 4th year or 5th year for the Blessing, and they've only actually had it twice because of, or in the original spot they were trying to, because of weather and other number of things. So I continuously knock on wood for them, hoping that these events continue forward, because it's a great event that brings out a lot of people and really gets the boating season going.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. With talking with Jack, they're going to get hit with about $100,000 loss in revenue because of the state park closure there. So these other events, and that's an opportunity to highlight some of the other lighthouses, and hopefully the community steps up. Looking forward to that event. It's 10 p.m. on June 8th. till 10:30. So about a 30-minute light show, and we're looking forward to talking with them more and telling more about that. Let's wrap up this morning with the Tree Advisory Board. Is this, when I say Tree Advisory Board, is it because of the conversations that have happened, especially over the last couple of years, about some of the diseases in the trees and such that we're experiencing out there, or is it a total different thing, this Tree Advisory Board?
Tree Advisory Board, to my, and I lack a real long or far back history knowledge, but as far as I am aware, it's been a long time that they've been in existence, and the purpose is for people that have a natural affinity for planting and all things, green and trees in particular. The city really needs advice from folks as to what type of trees work best, and DPW certainly has some input relative to what they've experienced in terms of maintaining those trees, but these folks really have a lot of good input at directing what type of trees are good, and they work hand in hand really with DPW to make those recommendations and implement the plantings that are recommended.
Cool. So, all right, maybe we can try to get them on the air. I'd love to get their thoughts and thoughts in regards to those recommendations.
Oh yeah, I mean we've gone so far as to add them to site plan review for different zoning items and for big construction projects, as well as Russ Soper works with them very closely out at Cartier Park. Kurt Kathmer out in the park system, just to make sure that we're doing it right, because we don't want to overpopulate the city with. I think it's maple trees that are banned at this point in time, or we don't want them because we already have so many, and you've got a chance for different sort of diseases to take them all out at once. And so I think they've done a good job of narrowing up that list of trees that they really recommend to folks. And if people are interested in that beyond attending their meetings, call City Hall and we can make sure that you can get the listing of those trees.
All right. Mr. Mayor, Your Honor, Kathy Winchesky was talking about some of, speaking of other things in the vegetation category this morning, about the different diseases of these plants and the infestations out there, up fences and everything else out there. We haven't talked about that lately. Can you give us any sort of update where that is, or does it just the conversation calm down during those colder months? But we probably will see that be a little bit more active in the spring and summer.
So first of all, I think it's a great time to talk about this because we've just talked about Tree Advisory Board, and the city could or somebody could unintentionally go in and plant a group of trees, a number of trees that are invasive species type trees. I mean, you see the types of trees that they're discouraging them from using all over the city, and those are things that now need to be controlled because of what they do to the other vegetation around. So that's really important. I know that, and I'm going to slaughter the acronym, but the group that's going to do the tree study, SISMA, thank you. Okay. SISMA is going to be doing their work, I believe, this spring and summer, taking inventory and letting the city council know what we have in terms of a holistic kind of a snapshot. So I think that's important so that people will understand. I mean, some of it's on city property, much of it's on private property. So there's going to be some information that's going to be needed to be shared relative to how best to curb that or how best to reduce some of the invasive species. Japanese royal bittersweet. There's Japanese knotweed, I think, and there's one Tree of Heaven. Yep. Tree of Heaven is just a crazy, rapidly growing type of thing to the detriment of the trees and vegetation around it. So anyway, I think those are good things that are moving. We're moving forward in sort of a methodical way to know what the problem is, know where it's at, and then to be able to address it.
Yeah, good information there. And let's keep that conversation going as much as possible. Speaking of this conversation, we're about wrapped up this morning. You've got City Council meeting tonight at 6 p.m. At the City Council chambers there. We pretty much covered most of everything, but is there one thing that we completely missed that we should be addressing this morning, Mitch, at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, anything that comes in your mind?
I've got this devil on my shoulder that's wanting me to do a dad joke, and probably not the best time for it. But anyway, the ups and downs of the elevator contract.
Oh yeah,
So that,
would you like to do a dad joke?
I just kind of did, and it flopped.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me just press this button
the
right
button,
here.
the crowd applause.
Yeah. One second. There we go. Symbols. That's what there we go. Okay, you're welcome. It is just about 5 before the top of the hour. We appreciate the two of you coming in. It's good to have these conversations about things that are happening in the city of Ludington. And if anybody has any questions in regards to these, or in fact, want to be a part of the conversation, they can always show up at City Council. They can reach out to the two of you. They can reach out to the radio station, say, "Hey, can we discuss this topic?" And we would be glad to do that. So that's what these segments are about every other week, just before our City Council meeting that night. So, Mr. Mayor, we appreciate you coming in, and thanks for being a part of the conversation each week.
Appreciate your time.
As well. Mitch, thank you so much as well.
Thank you.
It is 8:55, 5 ahead of the top of the hour on 102.7 Mom FM.